Luke tells us in chapter 24 about the walk to Emmaus, which occurred 3 days after Christ's crucifixion. Cleopas and a friend were traveling to Emmaus, and while walking, a stranger came and joined them. Together, all three walked to Emmaus, discussing the life and crucifixion of Jesus. I can only imagine that Cleopas and his friends were still in shock and grieving, probably hopeless and confused. They had, after all, put all their hope in a man that had just been crucified, and I'm sure they were still processing that. But the stranger provided hope and perspective in their conversation. Starting with Moses and all the prophets, the stranger explained the scriptures to them. When the three of them reached Emmaus, Cleopas invited the stranger in for supper. And while the stranger was breaking bread, Cleopas's eyes were opened and he realized that stranger was actually the resurrected Jesus. My thoughts on this passage have been shaped by my position within Southern Christian Services, and specifically by the relationships I've had with the children and youth we serve. I think this passage refers to the journey of life, specifically the journey between trauma and healing, between hopelessness and grief and happiness, joy. It refers to the in-betweens in life, the times when we're in transition, and the uncomfortableness of not knowing what to do now, uncertainty, feeling fragile. But what we learn from this passage is that Jesus is always there. He's walking with us, guiding us, engaging us. We have hope at the end of our journey through sadness and grief. We just can't always see it while we're en route. And just as Cleopas didn't recognize Jesus until his journey was over, we too may not recognize him until our journey is over. But I promise you, he's always there. The children and youth we serve are all en route. They're on their journey between trauma, grief, despair, and hope, joy, life. So the goal and prayer of Southern Christian Services is really quite simple. It's that we serve as Christ's body, his hands, his feet, his ears, his heart, engaging our children and youth along their journey, just like Jesus did with Cleopas, walking beside them, listening, reminding them of hope and purpose and whose they are, so that when their journey is over and joy is found, they can look back with open eyes and realize Jesus was there all along. He just manifested himself through our staff, our organization, our partners, and our donors, but he was always there. Please support us as we join the journey of our children. This can often be a very heavy and dark journey, but we know without any shadow of doubt that together, with God's help, we are building brighter futures and demonstrating the unconditional love of Christ to all God's children.